This is your YouTube monetization guide for 2017. I'm BC. Welcome to Clients Incoming, where I'm going to be taking you through all the things you need to understand about how to properly monetize your YouTube channel in 2017 and in the years to come. I've got a list here that I've compiled for you to talk about things you need to know, but also answers to the many questions I get every single day about monetizing a YouTube channel, especially one that uses copyrighted material that you as a creator don't own the copyrights to. First and foremost, the most important thing on this list, if at any time you plan to use material in your videos that you don't own the copyrights to, you're always going to be putting your channel at risk. Let me qualify that for you though. In most cases, if you are adhering to YouTube's monetization policy, their community guidelines, their overarching policies, and doing your best to maintain what's called the fair use exception to copyright law, there's a good chance that your content is not going to cause your channel any problems. But you have to understand that even if you do all those things, you still may be at risk. And here's why I say that. Because one of the questions I want to put to bed is this idea that there's a black and white answer to the age-old, hey B, can I monetize selection X? The answer to that question 100 times out of 100, unless you are using your own copyrighted material, is maybe. All right, does it adhere to YouTube policy, YouTube's monetization policy? And this especially goes for your gamers, because that's who asks me the most questions about, hey, can I monetize Dark Souls videos? I have no idea. Why? Because I don't know the video you're making. I don't know if your video is going to adhere to the fair use exception to copyright law. I'm not qualified to judge whether or not your video adheres to that. And I'm not really qualified to judge whether or not your video follows YouTube gaming monetization policy. Why is that? Because YouTube purposefully made that policy ambiguous. In other words, it's not definitive. It's not black and white. They want to give themselves and the copyright owners and you the most leeway possible to make a decision when content is being used that you don't own. So the bottom line there are no black and white answers as to whether or not your video can cause your channel a problem. The answer is yes, it can if you're using copyrighted material, but you can minimize that risk and make it acceptable or somewhat give you the ability to not even worry about it, as long as you're doing your best to not only adhere to the policies, but for you gamers especially, stick to companies that make it very clear that using their material is okay. Next up, shady content claims. All right, that's something you can't control. There are businesses out there who have made themselves into reputable accounts with YouTube. Number one, I'm not sure how they've done that, because somehow they've gotten access to what we call the asset management system that only certain types of creators get access to. And they must be some type of reputable company, otherwise Google should know better than to give them access. But they do get access, and every once in a while, they'll come around and claim something that you've uploaded that they have nothing to do with the copyright. Can you control that? No. Is it easy to dispute? It could be, as long as you met the criteria that I said in the beginning of the video, but still at the same time, your channel can always be at risk when you're using content you don't own the copyrights to. The other thing you need to keep in mind is the copyright owner's policies. Okay, and in most cases that's going to relate to gaming. A good example is Konami. They gave me permission personally via email that I've been able to use when they've claimed my content, but you may not have that email. And a lot of people that I've spoken to have had issues with that company in particular. But that same idea works no matter what company you are dealing with. So don't send me a question saying, well, I heard you talking about Konami, but what if I'm trying to monetize whatever company? These principles that I said in the beginning still apply. Number two, using copyrighted music is still and always will be a bad idea. Stop doing it and stop asking us about it. Stop asking YouTube gurus, how can I use music if I just use 3 seconds of the song? Like the fact that that question still exists with the multitude of videos I've done, Tim Schmoyer's done, Roberto Blake has done. The fact that people still ask that question, it's somewhat puzzling. Stop using copyrighted music and stop trying to use copyrighted music in your videos. Either make your own music or go get some license and copyright free music where the creator gives you express permission on their website to use their music. But again, keep in mind that that still can put your channel at risk, because one day they may copyright that material and they may change their policy. So you always need to be aware of that. Number three, One of the questions I don't get very often, but it should be brought up, is can you be sued? Answers, yep. You sure can. If you look at what H3 is going through with another YouTube creator whose content they used, and they argued that it was fair use, and now they're being taken to court for the making of that video. Now, whether or not they'll win the case or not really doesn't matter, because the amount of money they have to spend to have this court session. All right, so will you be sued is probably the better question to ask, and depending on the type of content you're making. Again, I can't see your content, and I'm probably not coming to your channel to watch it. So can you be sued? Yes. Will you be sued? Chances are, depending on what you're making, maybe not. I get that question usually from gamers as well. I doubt, although I could be wrong, that Square Enix is gonna come sue you because you made a video that they didn't like, especially if your channel is one where they know they're not going to in any way, shape, or form be able to pull money out of the deal. Why would they commit resources, money, and attorneys and fees and court fees to coming after someone who's not gonna be able to pay them in the first place? Number 4, we're gonna end on a good note. YouTube has made it clear over the last 2 years that they are going to do more to advocate for their creators who they believe are adhering to fair use policies, to the copyright standards, to YouTube policy and monetization standards, and community guidelines. Remember, don't forget about the community guidelines. They're important. You should read them. YouTube has said, I think, unless they've changed it, they will commit up to $1 million to defend somebody if indeed they truly believe someone is being maliciously attacked. Now, is that you? Probably not. I doubt as a company I would pony up $1 million to protect someone who was using a platform of mine unless I knew that I could 100% get something out of the deal, which is you make us so much money that ponying up $1 million doesn't really hurt our bank account that much, because we value your ability to add value to our platform, not just in that year, but for years to come. I put up $1 million, you make us $3 million a year. I pay for that in basically 6 months, and then for years to come, I continue to make money on the content that you're making. So, your YouTube monetization guide, let's review. Using media you don't own the copyrights to is going to put your channel at risk. There's no way to get around it. Stop asking me for the magic pill that's gonna make sure that your channel doesn't get a content ID claim or a copyright strike. It can happen. Will it happen? If you're doing everything right to the best of your ability, there's probably a somewhat low chance that you will get into hot water, but you can. I've had content ID claims before on stuff I had permission to use. In fact, I've had content ID claims on stuff that I own the copyrights to, okay? So stop looking for a risk-free platform with which to do your business. In any business, any endeavor you get into, it's going to come with some risk. Trying to find the black and white easy road to success does not exist. 2, using copyrighted music, still a bad idea. Stop doing it. Stop asking me, Tim, and Roberto about it. And Daryl, forgot about Daryl Eves as well. Can you be sued? Yes, but chances are if you're doing everything you know to do right, there's a good chance you won't be. This issue that I brought up with H3 is an extreme case. It's one where there was some bad blood, really a one-sided bad blood situation where they tried to work it out, you know, in a peaceful way, but the person who's doing the suing really just had issues with the content itself. Is that likely to happen to you? Probably not, unless you're using somebody else's video that gets somebody else's content that gets vindictive about it. Number 4, on a positive note, YouTube is doing more and more things, not necessarily in a fast way or in a great way over a short amount of time. But YouTube is doing things to help defend creators and create provision for creators to be able to create and to be able to use content they don't own the copyrights to. Is YouTube a perfect system? No. It's probably going to have these types of issues going forward because money is changing hands, and the people making a lot of this content that you're using are losing avenues with which to make revenue. So YouTubers are an easy target. You put something up that I own, I can monetize it, and if thousands of people are doing that, that's money in my pocket. All right, so that is your monetization guide for 2017. I want to thank you all for watching. Sometimes I do multiple videos like this a year if something changes policy-wise, so be on the lookout for that. In 2 weeks, in our social media ninja academy that we run here at Clients Incoming, formerly Alloy 7 and formerly the YouTube Ninja Academy, we're going to be going over some very powerful things on our VIP call. So I really encourage you, if you're not in our Ninja Academy at some level, we're getting ready to launch the white belt, which is the $47 course, and then we've got the green belt, which is the $197, I believe, and then the blue belt, which is $497, and then the black belt, which is $997, and then VIPs, there's a monthly fee associated with that. But more importantly, the YouTube and the Social Media Ninja Academy are getting results for the creators that are there. Why? Because I and the other people that I have working with me are putting our heart and soul into helping you do what you do better. Why? Because we all know what it's like to try to do this without help. And we just happen to like people. I don't know, I have this weird notion that helping people on earth when I have a skill set to do that is just a good thing. Okay, so I highly encourage you, if you've been thinking about the Ninja Academy, don't think about it anymore. Get in there and make it happen so that we can start working with you to help you build your success. The reason why I believe in this program so much is because your success is my most important issue in the Academy. Me getting you to the point of success, I'm incentivized to do it because you are paying us to be there. All right, so you're going to be in there with a group of people, not just me, but other ninjas who are there, who are committed to helping you learn, helping you get through the hard parts and understanding all of the nuances, but most importantly, giving you principles that go beyond YouTube, okay? We talk about so many different things that will help you in life and in business, but that also applied to your YouTube channels or whatever your social media channel may be. They're going to help you a great deal in the short and the long term to set your foundation for success. So if you're not there, highly suggest that you get in there. If you're not at that point yet, I definitely suggest that you get my ebook, which should be on screen right now. That ebook, my friends, is completely free, the YouTube Survival Guide. I hope you've gotten a lot out of this discussion today, tonight, whenever you may be watching. It's been a blessing working with you. Remember that we are stronger than I love you guys, and I'll see you soon.